Thank you, and welcome again to our usual podcast, which runs every Thursday, Legotech Dialogues, a place where we try to bring the law together with technology and find solutions to the dynamics of a changing society today. My name is Tony Kire Galandi, your host. I'm a managing partner at Diamond Advocates, who happens to be one of our sponsors. Today, I'm very excited to host a man who is in a better position to discuss land matters. And our topic today is blockchain as the unforgeable title deed, ending land fraud and double titling in Uganda. Our guest today is none other than Advocate Mugaino Baker. I'll give a small brief about Advocate Mugaino Baker. Advocate Mugaino Baker is the Commissioner Land Registration in Uganda. And now you know why he is the better candidate to have today. A small background on Advocate Mugaino Baker. Council Mugaino is an advocate of the High Court of Uganda. He has served as the Secretary, Uganda Land Commission. He has served as a Principal Legal Officer for East African Community Affairs. He holds a Bachelor of Laws. He holds a Master of Laws from the University of Cape Town. Mr. Mugaino equally holds a Masters of Business Administration from ESAMI. Mr. Mugaino has worked with Ministry of Lands, growing through ranks to the level today where he is the Commissioner Land Registration in Uganda. For those of us who have been following him, he has been at the forefront of fighting fraud in the Ministry of Lands. He has been at the forefront of proposing interventions to erase double titling. He has been at the forefront of fighting different groups that have been at the forefront of land fraud. And we felt that looking at the advancement in technology and also looking at he has been at the forefront of all these interventions, there was no better candidate to host today. Commissioner Mugaino Baker, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be on this forum.
For starters, who is Council Mugaino Baker in 1 minute?
Thank you, sir. Baker Mugaino, like you said, is an advocate. I was appointed commissioner in December last year. I joined Ministry of Lands from Ministry of East Africa as an assistant commissioner. So I went into the footsteps of the former commissioner, Mr. Kaluhanga John. I have interest in innovation, in solving problems. I'm currently doing my third master's in land management.
Wow.
Master of Science from Makerere University.
Wow.
And it has given me wide exposure that all the systems that have been able to eradicate some of these challenges, we cannot run away from technology. Actually, the topic is that we should use technology to enhance our fraud detection and registry system, because we are living in a digital age and we cannot do away with the transformation that has taken place all over the world.
Wow. Thank you very much. Commissioners, could you start by painting a picture of the scale of land fraud in Uganda before we go to the blockchain? Because we are tackling a problem which is a big problem. It affects everybody across the divide. By virtue of your position as a commissioner, could you paint us a picture of the scale of land fraud in Uganda today? For instance, on average, how many cases of double titling, forged certificates of title, on average, do you see annually?
I may not be in a position to answer that with exact numbers, but all I can say is that fraud is a moral issue. So it's something that comes from the community as a whole. If when you look at the sector, the Ministry of Lands, you have to look at the players, and this is the people we live in, because all for the transactions start from outside the sector and then they go coming within the sector. So it's a moral issue. It's something to do with morality. Now, but of course, to be a little bit exact on the question that you've asked, before the ministry started the computerization process, some of these works were started before I joined, like the land information system. There used to be a lot of double titling that was undetectable because there was nothing in digital in the land sector. And most of the titles that we are cancelling today, as it's a result of the digitization process that was begun by the sector, because it has brought out a lot of issues that were done in the past and that even the current office bearers were not part of. I will give you an example. With the ministry has did a very successful exercise in Mukono through part of our cleanup projects, and in the Mukono we discovered over 5,000 overlays that were done as a result of the survey register being tampered with and magnified to have FRGs that need to belong to those particular blocks. We mobilized the community, the politicians, the landowners, and it's a very interesting success story because most of the titles we cancelled them by consent.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, because we engaged the public and they were able to appreciate that we even had meetings with the banking community, the banks, and found out ways how we can mitigate the mortgages that have been put on those titles. So the general public, what the success story taught us is that the general public is tired of double titling and they are willing and supportive to have us do this cleanup exercise. So what mattered most in that exercise is how we did it, because we're able to engage the players and to involve them what the risks were. But this all has been as a result of the digitization process that has been done by the sector. Because like of course it's common knowledge, I'll talk about it here. These blocks and the tampering with the survey register happened in a period of between 15 to 20 years ago.
Wow. Commissioner, I would want you to share with us. You have been at the forefront of digitalization in Ministry of Lands. You have been a very, very big proponent of digitalization, and it has helped a number of people be able to secure their titles. And there is this new technology, blockchain. And a number of forums I've heard you speak about blockchain and you're so enthusiastic about it. Could you just give us a general overview why, in your opinion, you think blockchain technology could be a savior to the issues related to double titling and the land fraud?
I've been part of the digitization. I inherited the part of the processes, the land information system. I found the ministry had already started a little bit on that. The digitization process with the blockchain is a vision of, first of all, I would say it's a vision of His Excellency the President. And for me to go into in particular what you have talked about, fraud evolves. We are living in a world where fraud is evolving. So as fraud evolves, it means that also the technology has to evolve to meet the current challenges. Yes, like you have actually said, we know there are challenges. We know that there's double titling, like what you said, that's a major challenge. We know that there's tampering with records. We know that even the conveyance belt that comes from the district land board has its own challenges, because sometimes we just interest and get to know that the persons that were approved by that entire conveyance belt, airline committee, district survey, and ABCD really did not bring up the appropriate people to become the registered proprietors. Now, so out of those challenges, the question was very simple, that what now needs to be done. It means that we have to upgrade the latest trend in technology. And how does blockchain differ from what we have been having now? All the major fraud that we are having in the country, most of it is caused by forgery of records, tampering with records, and duplication of records. So we're talking about accurate, efficient record management. How does a just of title make a mistake, or a commissioner? If a record was tampered with maybe 7, 8, 10 years ago, you look at a file, you proceed with the existing record. Then 1 or 2 days later, a lawyer will tell you, by the way, there was this court order, but had not been registered on the register. And the other party did not inform you that they will exit the what? Exit the court order. So all these challenges come with record management. So blockchain solves that, because under blockchain we have a tamper-proof record ledger that is decentralized among the players. Now, that's what blockchain solves. I cannot single-handedly tamper or alter the register without involving the other players. So it's a record-proof transaction ledger. So that's the difference that blockchain brings. Now, blockchain goes a little bit beyond that, the way the world is evolving, the other registers that have used it. It also works with artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence solves most of the problems of the human era. Things to do like giving you trends. For example, if I'm an advocate of the High Court and the last 5-7 transactions that I've done have been fraudulent in nature, and then I bring my letter to my law firm to do a land transaction, AI should be able to inform the user that, by the way, the last 5 transactions that this person did or the surveyor did, the surveys were irregular. So that means that I should take an extra step analysis on the client that I'm dealing with. Wow. When we blockchain, because it deals with a decentralized ledger, and we're having the players being part of the system, it will also eliminate corruption, because the decentralized ledger, first of all, is transparent. I'm going to answer this by just giving an example of a transaction. Yeah. You are selling a piece of land. Under the blockchain system, you have a smart key. You as the landowner.
Just like a password or something?
Yes. I'll use an example that everybody knows. Yes. A practical example. Yeah. How do we sell transfer cards today? You initiate a process using your TIN number.
True.
So now I want to use that to be similar to how the system will work. You use your own passkey, you start it. Now, when you start that transaction, who are the players in that transaction? The financial system. So you instruct your bank to receive money from A. A instructs his bank to transfer money to your account. Now, both banks are part of the blockchain. Wow. So the bank will confirm that you have received the money, so they let the transaction to move to the next level. Who is the other person that is relevant within the transfer? The taxman. Now the taxman, on being informed that the transaction is taking place, he will deduct his stamp duty on the account automatically. So he's part of the blockchain. Wow. Now when the conditions of a transfer have been fulfilled, blockchain can do what we call smart contracts. Self-execution of the transfer. Now, you cannot come up tomorrow and claim that you never received consideration, because all these other players are part of the blockchain for that transaction. It's a chain. The evidence is there. So all these claims that we are having, the litigation that we are having, there was no sale, there was no ABCD, all these things that are coming up with the record management and evidence, the problem is solved. Then the efficiency. It means that you don't need a broker and probably a register of title to execute some of these transactions.
Wow. This is very, very powerful. I see my friends, the lawyers, saying, eh? I'm really very, very excited about this blockchain technology in land registry. Other jurisdictions have actually taken it up, as you may be aware, and like India and so on. Looking at the current national land management system, we have had stories of people losing out millions of money as a result of fake titles. Despite the existence of the national land management system, the digital, we are having people complaining, well, I lost money, I bought a title, this title is of 2000, 1996 or thereabout, which is a little bit different from the current ones probably that are coming out today. In your position as Commissioner on Registration and as a result of your experience, what are those red flags a person should look out for before knowing this title is genuine or really I should be able to have a second look? What are those features on a title? I should look at that first thing. I'm in my village in Budaka and I want to buy, and what are the immediate red flags I should be able to look at?
Of course, all of us lawyers know the basics. That is the search. We all know the basics. But a search report. But of course now a title is more than a search report. That's the reality that we live in. And land is about possession. Land is about possession. So we all talk about the site visits, the opening up of the boundaries. And what does that do? It would mean that if I come to open up boundaries of land that does not belong to A, then I should get an alert, because the people on the ground will raise complaints, and that will open my line of investigations into other areas. Then there are other things that we forget, but which now are going to be part of the node. The zoning requirements, the planning regulations, the protected areas. And then depending on the information that you will get on your site visits, you can't even go an extra mile to investigate the authentication of the documents on the land file. Depending on what you see, yes, the district land minute there, was there a site visit, an inspection report? Yes, of course, depending on what you get, so that will influence how far you go into the investigation.
Wow. I think that also takes me right to the next question.
However, with the blockchain, You know that the vast amount of land in the country is unregistered.
Correct.
And the unregistered register, I'll call it register, because it's legally recognized by statute. The Chibanja is recognized by law. The Chibanja property market is part of the money economy. Now, under the blockchain theme, we intend to have a register of customary interests. Now, that will be part of the fraud detection and solving, because it literally implies that if the land board is going to issue a title to a sitting tenant or the person in possession, then they must look at the register of customary interests of that particular area, of that community. Now, what would that do? It will mean that it will bring the whole country under a regulatory system that is transparent and is immutable. Going back to what you've asked me about fraud and the search, if I want to search your Chibanja, how do I know on your Chibanja 2 or 3 transactions before? I can't. But the reality of the matter is, the Chibanja is part of our property market.
You know, this is really very, very insightful. And like you have clearly said, for us in the legal profession, one of the biggest challenges we find today is how to deal with the unregistered land interests, Bibanja owners. So I think for me, I'm really very, very excited, Commissioner, about this technology, because the biggest population, the biggest vast land we have is actually registered land, because it's communal land. The registered land is around Kampala, the central. But when you go to villages, people are owning land communal. And I think for me, I will applaud you for this, because this technology brings the unregistered interest, into a market economy. And I think that is really a plus for me. I also want to take you back. Looking at the current land management system we have today, the National Land Management System.
Yes.
What are those areas do you think the blockchain is going to cure, which were missing in the land management system?
There are things that may not so on air here. Yeah, for so many reasons.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to give general answers here. But like I said before, fraud evolves. Fraud evolves. Let me just give an example. The best example I've given is having immutable records. Because all the fraud challenges that we are having start with misinformation, forging of documents, forgeries, alteration of documents, and duplication of records. Of course, that aside, the other thing we are not talking about is the efficiency that blockchain comes with. Well, now, when you have smart contracts, I use the word, one of them, smart contracts, you don't have complex like I gave my property to a broker. It's 2-3 days. I went and saw Mr. Mugaino. He's not signing my title. It's 1 or 2 days, and all these things are solved. Then when you talk about transparency, and then we are having all these other players part of the blockchain, is that we have real-time decisions, real-time analytics.
Wow.
When the government of Uganda started the LIS in 2013, it was not feasible then. What most people did not know is that our LIS system, at the time that we had it, at the time we started it, for so many years, we were the benchmark for the World Bank in Sub-Saharan Africa. The Ministry of Lands got delegations. I received delegations from Gambia, Zambia, most of the South African countries to come and study the LIS system in Uganda. But what we are saying now is that we are upgrading to the next level. Now, notwithstanding that, we have to also to appreciate the fact that we have a very unique tenure system. Part of our challenges, we have a very unique tenure system that we inherited from the British colonial masters. We are the only country that have a Milo tenure in the whole world. Milo tenure only exists in Uganda. And of course, we know the challenges that came up with the Milo tenure. We all know the history, the Chibanja, the Sudan Unforgeable, and now the British try to mitigate the squatter problem. So some of the challenges that the government is solving now, they are challenges that me and you inherited, but which government is trying to get a solution to solve.
Well, you know, in practice, lawyers, one of the areas we ground ourselves on is under declaration. Somebody is saying, I bought my land at 5 billion. And for some reason, because of errors in Ministry of Lands, somebody has fraudulently transferred my land. And I am seeking for damages and compensation. And at that point of time, the person who did the transfer declared that this land here is worth 100 million to evade the taxes. It's one area where, in legal practice, lawyers have been able to impute that even the person who is claiming ownership didn't come with clean hands. That takes me to the next question. How will blockchain solve the problem of under declaration of values?
Now, let me answer that question by looking at a perfect digital system that the minister wants to do. It's beyond land registration. About some time ago, we improved the search letter that we were giving out. The search letter does not only have block and plot. It has the parcel as well. The parcel, the survey parcel. Mm-hmm. It has the registered proprietor, if it's a living person, the photograph of the current registered proprietor. So in other words, it has been integrated with the survey register. And it will be integrated with the valuation register. So if I'm doing a search of parcel A, I will even have an estimated value of that parcel by the CGV. And these values can be updated automatically by algorithms in the system. We will know that approximately maybe the properties in Kololo increase in value approximately maybe by, I'm just giving examples, but maybe by 0.5% per year as an approximate value, maybe. So in other words, you are doing a search of a piece of land. We are looking at the parcel alienation. We are looking at the value. And if it's a living person, we are looking at the photograph of the owner. Am I talking at the right person? Now, the full digitization of the land ministry is beyond land registration. Because at a certain time, it also includes the land administration. Because we operate on a decentralized system. That I'm talking about the land boards. Now, it will mean that under blockchain, first time registration is initiated by the land boards. They have a node on the blockchain. They have gotten feeder in from the register of customary interests and the land committee. So they start the registration. Of course, also this means that we have to meet the challenge of our regulatory framework as well, to amend our legal system to allow for electronic land transactions and ABCD, which we are working on as well.
Wow. You know, this blockchain, to the person who is listening, it sounds so futuristic. It sounds a movie in light terms. How, you know, if implemented in terms of time, how do you think this is going to reduce the time frame in verification of a process? Why am I saying so? Because if I am, say for example, processing a freehold title, I will go to the area land committee manually. They will give me a report. I will go to the physical planning committee of the district. They sit and give me a minute. You can imagine if the area land committee sat this month and the physical planning committee says it's going to sit next month. Then from there, I have to carry out a survey. Then I have to go to the district land board. Then after the district land board sits and sends people on the ground, gives me a minute. All these ones are being done at the exclusion of the Office of the Commission on Land Registration. Then by the time I'm getting a minute, then they are forwarding my file to your place. Then when it comes to your place, it is coming with an instruction. Please process. Yeah?
No, sir. I think we are mixing two things here. Of course, with the technology, everything changes. These are things that we are mixing. The first one is that we are going to use the blockchain, first of all, to update and strengthen what we have already as the first stage. Do the surveys that we have in this area, are there any surveys that are overlaying? This will simple to find out. You go on a block, a particular mile block, for example, look at the titles that you have in on the survey register, you get the Karamazu, you have your AI, and the system will at a blink show you the overlays there. And you know that maybe on this block, there are 1, 2, 3 resurveys that may be needed. So now let us tackle this problem by identifying these RPs to go into dispute resolution by first cleaning up what we have. The next thing that you're talking about is having the whole country password out, which I think will come at a certain stage. True. because this has been done. All the countries that of course that have succeeded with the blockchain, they're all password out. So I think that is something else. But first we'll use this to first clean up what we have. And then after cleaning up what we have, then we'll go to the next stage of trying to ensure that at least the whole country is password out. And when the whole country is password out, I'll give you an example. Like when you go to Georgia, for example, the way they were doing it, systematic land serve and adjudication. I have a gadget like a phone like this. I pick coordinates here. The coordinates directly go to the server of the digital platform of the country directly. Not that a surveyor comes, he gets a file, he puts on his computation, he takes it to the land office, and then he catches an ABCD. Real time picking of coordinates, and real time through the internet. It goes directly to the server and it is picked at the server. I'm talking about the land server. So I'm in Karamoja. I'm doing systematic land education and survey. I'm picking up coordinates and they come straight to the server. And in the server here, these tools that you have talked about, they will do the analytics to show whether there's an overlay, there's a mistake, or everything is fine. And in areas that the ministry has done systematic land adjudication and survey, there are areas of almost zero conflict, because all the conflicts are adjudicated at the time of survey. For example, which village did you come from?
Budaka.
The village?
Lupada.
Lupada. You have a team coming to Lupada village. It mobilizes the LC, and we decide that we are going to have the whole Lupada village surveyed. So now we move on Chibanja pa Chibanja. So if you have a dispute with your neighbor, now the whole village will sit to adjudicate that dispute. If that dispute is not adjudicated, the survey does not take place. Now if you have common areas of interest, like wells, community playing grounds, or even all these are demarcated through community mapping. Now it would mean that by the time these surveys are completed on that particular village, all titles are created, there is no conflict or dispute, because these were adjudicated at the time of survey. That's why we call it systematic land adjudication and survey. I read a paper some time back, forgotten the author, a very famous author. I wrote it in around 89. He was talking about the systematic land adjudication that was done in Cavalry. The title that we created in Cavalry from around from the 60s up to the early 70s. And he made a very good analysis that for over 20-30 years, there was no case in the High Court of a land conflict from that area because of systematic land adjudication. All the freeholds that you created at that time, because of the methodology that was used, the dispute had been settled and they had failed to get any record of a case in the High Court. Court was done through community mapping. Of course, this other bit of it that I've talked about answers the other thing that you are talking about the surveys and ABCD. So that's why I brought the issue of community mapping.
Wow. This blockchain seems to run a lot on the internet. You are having most of this land deep in villages where internet access is a bit of a challenge. How do you as ministry plan to navigate that? Because it's a digital kind of system.
Of course, now you have taken me away from the principles of the whole theory. You're taking me to something which is practical. But I would say that I'm going to use a very simple example. This mobile phone you see here, is your grandfather still alive?
Surely no.
Eh? But even my grandfather in the village has a mobile phone. That's how deep technology has penetrated. The ministry, for example, brought up an app of a search on the phone. Even at the time that the ministry had launched this, people did not believe that the Ministry of Lands could become digital to that extent. I have colleagues in the government who called me and told me that, were asking me that this thing work. Even after we had launched it, people did not believe. So what am I trying to say is that the vision of this is not a dream. It is something that we are aspirating to have, because we know what it's going to solve, and we are not doing something that has not been tested or it has not worked elsewhere. The developed economies have taken their registries on blockchain. The whole of Dubai works on blockchain. To the extent, if you want to rent a property, now I'm talking about rent a property, that particular property on the blockchain will even show you the current rental agreement that is available there and when it will expire. So even those disputes to that level of rental agreements, the information is available. It is sorted through transparency. And Dubai, taxes of Dubai is on the property market. So if they didn't have an efficient system, then their property market would not have been a success. Sweden, Georgia started on the LIS. It has moved to blockchain. India, the UK is moving on blockchain.
Wow. It's very exciting conversation, Mr. Mgaino, because blockchain in the ordinary man's mind has been known to be in terms of cryptocurrencies and so on. So you bring a completely new outlook to blockchain. It's one of its kind, and that's why we're really very excited to host you on Lego Tech Dialogues. Beyond fraud registration, as a seasoned civil servant, how do you see blockchain affecting the economy once it is rolled out?
Technology. Talking about technology.
Exactly, the blockchain technology in land.
I want to use an example that everybody knows, every lawyer knows. Everybody was using ChatGPT. There's to people draft letters. People use ChatGPT now. We all know these AI applications that even affect the legal profession, whereby you put in facts and then they'll bring you the suggested cases plus the proposed arguments. That's where the world has gone. We know, for example, that also have applications that you just put in the facts and they will do balance sheets and even advise areas of intervention. We cannot fear technology because it's a reality, and we just have to be innovative around it. But I know the fact that there is no technology that can influence litigation, because litigation is a skill. Yes, I might you may have the answers, but how I litigate, of course, is something different. There's no technology that influences litigation for lawyers. But of course, the dynamics in the economy would be different. When I was reading something whereby somebody was advocating that the mobile money revolution that started from Kenya was probably going to be one of the greatest exports of Africa to the Western world. But before mobile money came, nobody could think that this was possible. But the number of transactions in mobile money are superseding the banks.
True.
But what are we getting out of that? The economy has transformed. Now the money is on the chip, it's on the phone. So the title will be on the
Your phone.
On the chip, link to your TIN number, link to everything. I just get your TIN number, and because that's how it is in the rest of the world. We just have to be knowledgeable and to innovate how to adapt to it.
Mr. Mgaino, where do you see the future of the lawyer whose specialization is in land transactions? When I just left law school, you would charge a client, 2 million shillings to do a search, and you would call Mr. Mgaino, send him the plot number and block number, and he'll be able to send you a search. No encumbrance. Today, with your innovation of the app, the client no longer brings that 2 million shillings. In fact, he comes when he has already done the search on the system, says, Counsel, I have finished the search, but now I would want to go down to do the due diligence and so on. Where do you see the role of lawyers in land transactions in the next 5 years after the introduction of blockchain?
I may not be able to predict that, but I'm going to give you a few hints. Even the role of the register of titles won't be the same, because it would mean that I should have more than a bachelor's degree to qualify to be in that position. More than a law degree, sorry. More than
a law degree
to fit that position, because the system works with your spatial data. I should be knowledgeable in GIS. That's as an example. So to be able to navigate, I should also be knowledgeable probably in some basic survey. So it means that even the job description or the job relevancy will have to change, but this is necessary to meet the changing times. When I just left law school, one of the quickest transaction we used to do for lawyers that have come out of law school was to do a sales agreement for transfer of motor vehicles. I don't know how many of you still do them today.
Clearly no.
Yeah, you know the reason why?
The digital system has...
Yes, the digital system has taken that system, yes. But do you still hear any cases of motor vehicles?
No.
Isn't the system perfect?
Sure, yes.
So maybe that's where we are going.
Wow. Commissioner, this show number...
That aside, the success of the legal profession in the property market is not about transactions. It's not about transaction. Like I said earlier, we have a complex tenure system. Yes, we may not have double titling, and we have a clean Milo title, but I have issues with the squatter that needs to be settled. Now that is away from the efficiency of the title registration system. Now we have gone to the practical problem that we inherited. A Milo title and a squatter, they need a settlement. So the success of a lawyer is beyond transactions.
Wow. So my friends who were scared that the work is gone, Commissioner says you'll still be needed, except this time around you'll be settling disputes and maybe drafting contracts. But unfortunately, also smart contracts that will be automated in one.
No, that's why I'm saying it's beyond transaction, because if I do a sales agreement with the client will pay me. The transaction I'm talking about is the transfer. So the success of a lawyer is beyond conveyancing.
Taking you back to the policy bit of it, you and me know that registration and conveyancing is grounded mainly in the Registry of Titles Act. And these innovations that are coming today are not necessarily provided for in the Registry of Titles Act.
Yes.
What steps do you intend to take to harmonize the enthusiasm for the technology vis-a-vis the supporting legal framework?
Of course, like I said earlier on at the beginning of this conversation, the ministry is currently amending the land laws. And one of the anchors of this amendment is to come into terms with the developments. The RTA, I think, is the 1924 Land Registration Ordinance that united as the RTA. It has been unchanged for over 60, 70 years. The basic principles are perfect, but the technology has evolved. And one of the things is to allow for the digitalization, the electronic transformation, so that we come into reality with where the world is moving. I'll give an example. For example, we all know we call the land information system even before the courts of law. But of course, the judicial notice that you're using an LIS, but you should bring this digital thing within the law.
You know, it's a very, very exciting conversation, and Aziz would kill me if I shot beyond the time. This show normally runs for 1 hour, and I must tell you that when I check on our online audience, there is a lot of excitement, so many emojis running, and I think you have spoken the hearts of Ugandans about blockchain technology. I've also learned. Our questions are normally very basic, so that the people down there are also able to understand. And I'm very, very excited that you have been able to diagonalize and digest this in very plain language. We are really very happy and excited having hosted you today. As we close, what is that advice you would give a lawyer who has just joined the profession today? That's one, with respect to land management, land transactions. Number two, what is that advice you would give to a surveyor, young man who has just joined survey? And lastly, what is that advice you would give my mother in the village who has land unregistered? That would be your parting shot.
Thank you. For the lawyers, I learned this not in law school. I learned it in practice. A land title is a survey register. The deed plan in the title is done by the surveyors from the survey register. The block numbering is decided by the surveyors. The plot number is decided by the surveyors. The acreage is decided by the surveyors. So that deed plan, that information that we put on the cover page of a title and we sign. I sometimes have this joke that the actual commissioner land registration is the commissioner surveys, because the title begins from survey. What am I talking about? If I'm a young lawyer and I'm interested in the land practice, I should have basic knowledge of survey. I should attack a title from the survey register first before I go to the title register. And because of the technology that you have talked about, the evolvement, I should have basic knowledge in geographical information system and geospatial technology, because that's the foundation of the digital register. In other words, it's more than a law degree. Of course, for the surveyor, as I'm not a surveyor, I may not be able to really go into a little bit of this, but I'm sure the surveyors know the important role they play in the title registration process. The double titling is a survey problem because, first of all, they use gadgets and technology, unlike the lawyers. Now, where I'm using gadgets and coordinates, and I come and I put those coordinates here on a coordinated system, I survey plot, I can plot it on the cadastre. How do I come up tomorrow with the same technology in the same area and plot another plot on the cadastre? And then I name this one plot 4, I name this one plot 6. We are talking about the same piece of land. To go through the system, it looks different, and then you wake up tomorrow that you have double titling. So the survey profession has to, the regulation of the survey profession, the equivalent of the Uganda Law Society, the survey profession, they have to raise the standards of discipline. For example, do you know that when you go to do survey, there's what they call the JRJ file, the job record file. The first paragraph of the job record file, a surveyor is supposed to state that when I went to do a survey, what did you find? Did you meet any resistance on the ground? What are the major features that you found? So that means that if I go to survey and I find that the major resistance on the ground, I'm not supposed to do the survey anyway. So the survey profession is the first risk mitigator in the title registration process. How do I pick up coordinates as a surveyor of a title in a wetland or a forest reserve when I have the forest maps? It's a practical exercise. I can even tell that where I'm surveying is a wetland. So there's need for more professional regulation of the survey profession. They have to raise up the bar.
Wow. Wow, wow. Thank you very much, Commissioner Mugaino. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commissioner has thrown the ball to surveys. You know, many a time we have thrown the Office of the Commissioner on Land Registration under the bus. And our argument has been, how did another title come on my title? So I think clearly as members in the profession, we need to focus our eyes also in another area, and that is the titling process, because clearly like the Baganda said, ekiso kyembuzi kirekerera omusi nekitunulira omubazi. It clearly shows the commissioners is actually the tail end, land registration, but the whole process starts at the surveys. So I think for me this is really very, very important information for lawyers who are into land litigation, because we tend to focus more on the register and we do not want to look at how was the survey done. And so
what people don't talk about, there's also a survey register called the Karamazo, and so it's the survey register that feeds the title register, not the other way around. Have you ever seen a Karamazo?
Yes, sure, but I'm sure very many lawyers haven't.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's 18 minutes past 8. This show runs for 1 hour, 7 to 8. We started at 7:15, and we are really very grateful for all of you tuning in. And we will be having another topical discussion that will be going to be running next Thursday. I want to thank the Commissioner for sparing time to be with us. We are really very, very happy. Thank you for speaking to us and also speaking to your people. Discussions like these help us to make our people appreciate technology, because technology is a change. It comes with resistance, and I'm sure there is a bit of resistance you'll find along the way, because this is going
natural, yes. Natural, yes. It's natural,
this is changing the status quo. If I have been, if I lead a cartel of land grabbing, surely I will not be comfortable with Mr. Mugaino's proposals of blockchain. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we will definitely, as members of the bar, we are excited about this because the backlog we have in courts, over 70% of the cases we have in courts in Uganda are land-related matters.
Yes.
So I think for me, this technology is a brain breaker for backlog. It's a brain breaker for backlog, and I'm really very excited and looking forward to it, like other members I can see on the platform, and the excitement. And thank you for honoring our invitation. Thank you very, very, very much. I do not know if my president is online. He had promised to give us a parting shot. Aziz, is our president online? No. Yeah, I think he had a connection problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our show today, our podcast today, and we look forward to Thursday to have exciting discussions. I want to thank my team, Adam, Aziz, Liz, Council Liz, and I also want to extend my thanks to the sponsors of this show, Diamond Advocates, and we look forward to another exciting discussion next Thursday. We are going to be having lawyers to answer some of your questions on the platform hereafter. So you will type in and definitely you'll get answers. We control these sites so that you get advice, legal advice, which is dependable from the right source. Thank you for listening in and have a good night. Before I sign out, we, as a part of our culture here,
Yes.
we offer a small gift in remembrance of this day.
Pleasure.
So let me take the honor to hand over our certificate of appreciation from Legotech Dialogues. Liz, you want to help out?
Pleasure.
Aziz also. Okay, wow. Just a second. The banner.
The banner.
Pause, yeah. No, this one. And the sponsor.
You want us to draw in front?
Branding.
I know.
This is the most important.
Branding.
I think for him, he's supposed to go the other side so that they don't accuse him. We saw him on the banner of Diamond Advocates.
Like this alone. Then when you are there, also stay.
The photographers will kill us.
Another 1,000 of these.
Then cancel all the that one.
This one.
That one.